Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, Tunde Teach. Today, we'll be looking at something special, Excel 101, Mastering the Basics for Beginners. This course has been carefully packed for anyone who wants to embark on the journey of Excel spreadsheet analysis. Maybe you are beginning a new career, or you're an entrepreneur or a student who have a need of Excel, and you have been wondering how you will start, and then you've been seeing a lot of presentations, seeing a lot of things done with Excel. Do not be afraid, because this course has been carefully packed to bring you from the stage where you are to the place of becoming a spreadsheet guru. We have carefully looked into the basics from the beginning of opening the Excel spreadsheet, introducing you to every area to make you comfortable to get started. And then we'll take you to a journey where you'll be able to move from a data that is like this to become like this. I know you like to see that. So please sit down, relax, open your spreadsheet as we take you through this journey. And just also to help you accelerate your journey in this Excel course, we're also offering you a free gift, an ebook that contains over 50 game-changing Excel shortcuts. This will help you to navigate your way, present data, analyze it, and then be able to show it in a way that your clients, your boss, whoever needs it will understand the data. That's the essence of this course. So before we get on it, I would request that you please hit on the subscribe button to encourage us to make more quality videos like this for you that would help in your journey. I'll wait you. Let's see as we dive into it now. Thank you.
Yeah, so when we open Excel, that's the very first thing we'll see is a platform like this. It shows you a lot of things here. There are tables, look at pivots, table formulas, you have calendars and all of that. But I think what we're interested in for now is the blank workbook so that we can get going. Now, this is exactly what a workbook is. This is without title. And what you need to know here is that a workbook contains spreadsheet. What we're looking at here is a spreadsheet. This is sheet 1. If I click the plus sign here, you would see that is sheet 2, sheet 3. It goes on like that. So I would expose you. The first thing to do here is to show you how to navigate the Excel page on a spreadsheet. Let me first of all tell you how wide this sheet is. If you want to know, if you click on your keyboard, the shift control key, and you press side, you will see the end of the Excel control key, rather just the control key, and you click right, you see this is XFD. If you click down, it goes to the end. It shows you that there are 1,048,576 rows in Excel, and that takes me to explaining what a row is and column is. Now, a spreadsheet consists of cell and column. Now, if you see, these are the columns. They are labeled A, B, Z to X, F, D that you saw just now, and these are rows in Excel. So it contains rows and column. These rows are up to the 1,078,000 I just showed you beneath now, meaning that the spreadsheet is so wide that it can take the date, any amount of data you supply to it, and that's why it's a spreadsheet. That's where it gets that name from. It is spread. Now, the intersection of the column and the row is called a cell. So whilst the columns are labeled alphabetically, the rows are labeled numerically. So if you put a cell, if you click on a particular cell, which is the intersection of row, the label will be the adjoining column to the row. So this place that is stricken here, let me expand it so that you see better. Now you see here is called C4. If you go to the where you have a number box here, the label of that cell will be shown there. In some further courses that you get to see, will tell you what other advantage it is to have that name box there. But for now, let's take put on this and quickly show you what it is around there. You make insert on this by typing. You could type 1, 2, 3. You could type ABC. It accepts both inputs there and even symbols and signs, just like you have. It has a computer side, the calculation side that you'll also be seeing later on. Let me quickly expose you to this top area of Excel. It contains rows, the tab and the ribbons, right? So you have some tabs here: file, home, insert, draw, and then you have ribbons beneath it. Then you have the group names there. So like if you come to these, you have a clipboard. Under clipboard you have paste, you have what we call format, you have the copy, the paste, you have the cut. You say font, so they are in groups. This is font, this is the alignment space, this is number, this is style. So all of them under each of the tabs, you have the ribbons that are also in groups. So if you understand this, you are able to navigate your way. As you continue to use Excel, many of these things will be useful to you. But for now, the most ones that you use, the most tab that you constantly use is home, which understandably is the default page when you open an Excel. Now, having known all of these, let me also show you there's a scroll bar by the right that you use to navigate up and down the Excel, right? And then there is one beneath that you use to go sideways, forward, sideways, left and right. And then just beneath it here, you have a zoom that you can use to zoom in and zoom out on a page, just to the tightness and to the bigger size. 100 is a standard there. However, if you need to come closer to view a thing just the way I'm doing now, we could expand it there. All right, having known that, I think it's good for us to start by showing you one or two things that you need to understand in Excel. For example, if you want to make an impact on a cell, you click the cell first. When you click the cell, whatever you type would become an input into that cell. The same way you can write words, alphabets to make words, you can also write figures 2, 3. Now let's begin to show you some of those basic things that you need to know. Put in mind that Excel tries to take you away from monotony, from the things that you typically would do and waste time. It has a greater way. A good way to start to explain to you on that is, for example, if you are asked to do something and they're like 100 in number, your typical approach will be to type 1, 2, 3, just having a board. You want to type 4, you want to type 5. You agree with me that if you go on this way, you would not be able to make up with time. It's not an efficient way. Now there are shortcuts to it. There are ways that you would work on that. If you type 1 and 2, Excel looks at the pattern. If you come closer to beneath that 2, you will see a square tiny box there. If you hover around it and your cursor becomes cross, you could drag it down. Now it follows that pattern, so you could draw it down till you get to wherever you want to get there and you stop. I've just done 1 to 19 now in a jiffy, so that's it there. There are ways that these are just ways that you could type 1, 2, 3 and do it down. If you also can click it. Now another thing you need to know is you can also use that method to repeat. For example, if I have one here and it's not a pattern, it's just one. What Excel does is if you do the same thing, it will repeat the one itself there. So it's good if you want to repeat same thing. This is a very good one for you. In case you have work around that, just note this there. There are other ways you could also do the 1, 2, 3 in the formula base, depends on what you want to achieve. If you put one here and you say it equals to, and you click on that cell, which is E2, remember that it is labeled by the column and row. If you add 1 to it and you press enter, remember, just see to note that I started with an equals to sign. When you want to do computations in Excel, you start with an equal to sign so that he understands that you are trying to do you are computing certain things there. If you do not put it there, it's just simply type and print the exact word you are printing there. Please take note. If I click enter now, it becomes 2. Now what it does is, as you drag it along, it continues to increase it by 1. Why am I showing you this? You might have a reason to do something and you want to increase it by numbers, and then maybe you want to be doing odd numbers. If you add 2 to this, it gives you 3. Sorry about that. If you want to do say odd number, you add 2 to use arrow 3 there, it gives you 3. So if you drag that down, you see that it continues to add 2 to your figures, to the substituting figures, so it becomes odd. In the same way too, if you type 1, 3 here, it sees that pattern, is wondering if you want to do same thing, it does the same thing there. So either way, you now know how to increase data just like you want it. Now, having done that, I'd like to show you other things that are very important at this basic stage to you, so that you begin to understand how to manipulate them the way that they come to you. Now, if we type, say we want to get, let's say this is a serial number, we're creating a table now. Let's think of say we're looking at name, both lower and uppercase, and then maybe you're looking at position, and you're looking at something like, say, salary as your headers. So let's stop it here, and let's assume we have same name. We just, for the purpose of this example, we're just going to use Jacob Joseph, and then let's just repeat those names there and assume they are different names so that we'll catch up with time. Now you see that becomes the name cell. If you have that in there, there are times, so let's assume there are positions here. You have executive director. Now the reason why I'm saying this is this. It seems as if these two things are on different cells. They're not. There is a way you could make it be on its own cell, because if you click to the next cell here, it's empty. So, but because the length of what you have written there transcends the size of the cell, right? Literally at the output stage, but at the inside they're the same. So there is something here called wrap. So if you go to home and you come down to this here, you will see, if you check around all of these, right, you see the one up here is called wrap test. Wrap extra long test into multiple lines so you can see all of it. That's the work there. You see that it's coming to one place in it. And there are times where you have the stretch, you will do that. Now I'll be bringing in data to show you further on that. So I could also manipulate change the look of things, like highlighting this here. If you come to the home page, you could change the color of that font. So you see, if you click blue, you see change it there, because this is color. Now you could also add a background there, which is a second filler here, which is fill color. You could change the background to something different. could see that. Then you could make words bigger. If you think this size is not okay, just add the bar here as well. This is to increase font, or you type the exact number of font that you really want to use over there. And in some cases, you see the way this executive is showing, as this get bigger, it becomes altered there. All you need to do is to click the next line where it's appearing, and it will spread out to take its normal size, right? So when you do that, you could expand it on it, because this is now a wrap cell. You expand it till a time where you could get it in the right place. You click, see here, click the column here. Now there are other things. Let's also look at how we can change the font. Now let's focus on this executive director, and we will manipulate it in different ways so that you get to understand how this is. And then let's write the number 150 here, so we could use it to manipulate numbers, and we'll use the executive director to manipulate words. Now we've shown you what the wrap is here. We've also showed you how we'll also change and increase the size at the same time adjust the cell. Now you could also adjust the font by coming to Home tab, and in this very font area here is Calibri. If you open it, there are tons of font styles that you can choose. Note that if you work in some organizations, they have approved fonts. You need to ask from your comps guys, and they'll let you know what the approved font is. Otherwise, you are free to use any. Now let's go for these. If you immediately click that, there are some, you see that it keeps changing, so you could hover around to decide whichever you want there. So let's take these around overlight, for example. So it's changed into these. In the same way, when you have numbers, right, it also will come to some other alterations there. Now in executive director, we could also merge two cells together. Maybe you need to bring them into one. You could merge cells together and then be able to, if you want to merge, for example, the cell of the name and the executive director together, it will ask you which one you want to retain. This is for merge. You see, Mike will only keep the upper left value and discard the other value. So it will only keep one and it will discard that. You see, it kept the name and discard that. So it's important that before you merge a cell, you may want to merge an empty cell first so that you write only one thing. That there are other reasons why have you seen the empty cells have been merged, then you can write whatever you want to write in there. So cells can be merged and to become one. So 2 cells, 3 cells. There are times you want to write an header. If you want to insert a row, for example, I need to write something above this header here. I simply go to the first column, and I right click and you do insert. So let's assume we want to give this work a header and we want to show it in a way that it will take all the lines and won't be divided by the box. So let's assume this is a kind of say staff list for 2050. If you highlight the number of cells by clicking down on your control and then dragging it to the right, then you highlight. Then if you merge this cell, it puts it at the center. So it says quite decent there to have it at the center rather than just have it there. So it becomes, it could play, you could adjust it left and right, up and down on this side. You could see it could go left, you could go right, you could go at the center. That's the beauty of merging the cell together for proper presentation. Now I haven't done this. I've shown you the font. You could change the font, you could change the heading, you could color the heading. How do we copy and paste? If you need to copy into one row to another, for example, I need to copy this into another cell. You click on the cell you want to copy, you click on the control button, and you click on the C button. That's one way to copy. Control C, and then you go to the cell where you want to paste, for example, and then you look at that. I've just clicked on I3, cell I3 now, so I do Control V. That's a short way to go. It increases proficiency. Remember to download 50, that's about 53 shortcuts in Excel that can help you improve speed and proficiency. So I've copied this into these, and then you see it's replicated in the sheet there. So if you also want to use the other way, if you don't want to use a shortcut, you could right click on it, it brings down a drop down, and you copy here, and then you could paste just like we have done earlier on by also right clicking, and then you see paste options here. The first one will usually be the one you will pick. The other paste options, you get to know that in a higher class, I mean as you advance in teaching here. Not in this, but there are other, watch out for this channel for more advanced teachings as you progress in your journey in your Excel. Now, I haven't shown you all of these. It will be nice and proper to also show you how we manipulate data, just the way it is there, just like a calculator. If you check the right hand side of your computer, there's a calculator like corner there. It can be used just like a full computer. Now, if you come to the cell beneath it, and you put equals to there, and you click on the cell, and you put the asterisk sign, which stands for multiplication in this case, and say you want to multiply that by 3, and you click enter, it gives you that there. That's how you do the same thing for addition and subtraction. That's how you work on that there. You could also change this to currency by clicking on where you want to work on. If you go to the toolbar, home, and you come to where you have general here, right, you could do this, and you have currency here, and you click on it. Voila, it's giving you the dollar sign. However, there are cases where you want to change and use other currencies. You could click on that. Just beneath where we went to in general, there is a currency table there, or you could look at that for more accounting functions. So you have symbols here. If you open the symbols, you will see various currency symbol of the world that you could choose to impart on whatever you are doing. So that's it. So it's a global advantage in Excel. Now, I haven't done this. I think it's good for us to delve into proper data and then begin to see how we manipulate those data. As we explain further on them, you get to appreciate more. What I would advise you to also do is, if you haven't listened to this, you could come back to some of these teachings and take them one after the other. Yeah, so let's get on it. Yeah, so this is the plain a blank Excel raw data from the internet. We're going to work on this right away. It will give us opportunity to show you many things as beginner, and by the time we finish transforming this raw data into a visualized format, I'm sure you'll be able to build that level of confidence that can make you approach any data at office whenever the time presents itself. What I also advise is for you to get on and practice as we get along. So the first thing you need to look at when you say a data like this is, how do you improve on the data? Let's start from the date. Excuse me. We spoke to us about the dates the other time, how to change the date, and then so if you still remember, let's highlight the column A, which is for date, and then go to the tab home, and then go to the number format ribbon. If you click on it, you would see the format there. And then if you hover, you see it's exactly on date. So there are several date format here. You can see some even have time. But I think I want to change it to this UK format. It's currently in American format, just so that you see how to move around, just in case you got a data that is not in your country format. You can see this if you click this now, you say okay, see that it has changed the entire column, the format of the date, to insert words into it, and then put the day before the month and the year. So that's exactly how to format a date. So that's date formatting. Now if you come to the next column here, you discover that, just like we showed you in the other example, there are hidden cells which contains items that are hidden. So I told you, like we've been told, you could either double click it here or you spread it out. You see that it takes its form, its alignment, it's been properly aligned. If you go on to the last column, you would see also that this is how it reacts when it comes to figure. When the size of the cell is smaller than the content, it brings an arch sign like this. So if you double click that on it again, it spells out. We're having a better view right now. And before we begin to dive on, I think it's also important for us to give it some header and then give our work a title. So if you do this, insert, you can see I highlighted the first row here, row 1, and then right click, and then scroll down here to insert. So it inserts a new row above where you want to do it, add into. So let's call this date, order date, because this is an order date. Let's call this region. Let's call these managers, and this order, and then this quantity, QTY for short, and then unit cost. Now you see it there. So let's quickly do some formatting based on what we've been told, what we've been taught earlier on, what we've shown us. So if we do this and you should shift control, the side arrow key, it aligns to the end. If you press the down key, it aligns everything in there. If you come to the home tab here and we go to the table, the border, let's put all border there so that it gives it a good outlook rather. And then if you highlight on the row above, we can bolden it just to differentiate it as an header. And then if we like, we can also give it a thick border. Right, you can do this just to your satisfaction. You can also give the entire report a thick border as well. See, it's getting order. Now we can also insert again so that we give it, now that it has an header, what's the title of our report? Let's call it sales report or sales order report 2050. You can make this order. You can also bolden it. We can make the header of our this. We can change the color by coming to home, and then the first one here, fill the color. The second one is for the font color. The first one is for the background, which it fills the cell. So we could give it a lighter blue, just for good outlook. See, it's getting finer. Now, these are the ways that you present data and refine. And then if you look out for the next teaching, the level 2 of this beginner, we'll be teaching you how to change this to a table. It will come with a filter, and then you can manipulate your data just by making it as a table. Control T, but that's just to bring us up to speed. Now, having seen this, there's something else you could also look into. We know we have amount here, but it's not in any currency. If you follow what we taught us earlier on, we can highlight it down here. Come to home again. You see, I told you that we use home constantly, and then you come to currency, or sorry, you come to number format, and then go to currency. There are several symbols here. You can see symbol. If you see symbols, there are several symbols there, right? So for the purpose of this, we'll choose the pounds symbol and then click OK. It has added it to it. You can see it there. So you will know that that is in pounds. Now let's now go to some functions. Let's do some calculation and then use some review, show you some function as we progress in it. Let's assume part of what you have been asked to do is to get the total cost here and then present a visualization that you want to present to your boss so that there can be a kind of snapshot of what this data is saying. So the next thing you want to add there is a total cost, and for you to get the total cost, it means unit, the quantity times unit cost. That gives you a total cost. For you to do that clearly, you could do it different way. You can say equals to, I use that same formula. Use the cell name to multiply the cell name. So the first one should be E3 multiplied by F3. So you could simply say E3 multiply here in Excel, your multiplication sign is the asterisk sign. So if you do Shift 8, I don't know how it appears on your system. It could be different on Mac and all of that. And then you also type F3. Then you press enter. It multiplies it and it gives you the total cost. Now you could also, let's go to next and use another way. You could just also type your equals to. I told you earlier on that when you want to calculate, the first thing you do is to type your equals to sign. You could click the cell that you want to multiply, click your symbol, and then click on the other cell and press enter. If you check the content, look at the file here, you see that there is no difference between this and this in terms of how it presented it, apart from the fact that they're on different cell. Right, so now, like we told you before, you don't need to be repeating these. I guess you know what to do by now. You do your autofill. Now you see, because this is an additional, you can see what we did now. By default, you do that. By the time you used to it, you don't think, you see by default, I've clicked this side so that it can expand. Now, if you check, because this is an additional column, it might not take the same format with that. So you want to make it look like this format. Remember what you do. You just highlight the entire column here. Come to Home tab here for Format Painter. Click on it and then put it on the next column. Voila, you see it has adjusted it to exactly how the other ones are. So let's take it from there to say you want to calculate things like they have asked you to also find the average of all of these things, the total, the average, the maximum, and the minimum. So let's start with total here. If you come down here and type total is usually beneath. Total will give us different, so I'll show us different ways to do it. In this first column here, let's assume we want to sum up all the quantity that have been ordered. You put equals to sign here, you type sum. You open a bracket. If you come up here to check what is the first one, because now you need a range. A range is the collection of all the cells, right? So you want to get a range from E3 to the last one here, which will be E45. So you could say E3 column E45. You can see that it has highlighted it and you click OK. It's not compulsory, you cover it up. You can see it there. I can also show you another format in the next one here that you can also show. Excel, in order to the fast with what we do, it also gives us a kind of formula that we can use, and the automation. If you come to the home page, scroll to the right, there is this Z, inverted Z sign here, which is a sigma. It's called sigma. If you hover on it, you will see what it does. That function, the function is said automatically add it up. Your total will appear after the selected cells. So we have selected this cell. Now, if we click that symbol there, it sums everything up. If you see what is written there, you see that it's the same thing that you typed the other time, F3 column F45. So this saves you a lot of time. Now, of course, we don't need to repeat it there. You can auto-fill. So even if you have, you can see whenever you see this, just double click on the next column there so that it reviews the data. If you have more than 50 columns here, you don't need to sum. After you do your first one, you take an autofill and you drag on, and it will sum up everything there. You see, because the cell is empty, it's giving me 0 there. So let's take it on from there. So the next thing we want to do, let's check maximum. What's the function for maximum? If you say max here, if you come to this column again, you can say max equals to max, open bracket, or is already E3 column E45, and you press enter. So the maximum quantity ordered here is 96. You don't need to do for others, you just drag. Remember, if you don't want to type it there, you only do that. You can also just click the equals to. I'll show it in the next one now. Well, let's check minimum, min, which is the minimum. If you come here, you can say equals min, open bracket. Now, if you don't know what to do in terms of where the cells are, you can also highlight manually yourself to the top and press enter. It's the same thing. So this is the minimum 2. Then you can drag it there so that I get minimum unit cost and minimum total cost. Now, having done that, we can also get another function called average. So if you do this, you said equals average, you just type what you are looking for in there for these ones, and then again you can highlight it again, or you just say E3 to E45 and click enter. That's the average in terms of quantity order. Then you could also drag it to autofill. Now you have your report done there. So you want to give it your borderline, you come up there again. You just want it to also look presentable. Put it there so it looks like an extension of a report there. See, so you can also highlight these ones just to show that they are aggregated values. So you see what you have here is certainly showing you this can be used for many things in your report. So another way to show data, which is the final part of where we're going to here, is to show you the visualization. But before we do that, I need to let you know that it's very important that when you are working on an Excel spreadsheet or a workbook, one of the first things you should aim at is to save. So you have a folder already created in your box. If you don't, you can create it while saving. So I'll quickly show you how to save. If you come to the tab here called File, if you click it, you will scroll down. There is a Save As here. If you click Save As, then you can browse to show wherever you want to. I already have this Excel here. I'll put there. So you can define name. You cannot give it a name. So let's call it sales. I've got so many sales report here. So I can just say report 5. And then you click Save. If this is not where you want to put it, I want to create a folder here differently, you can just right click inside the cell, and then you can see you can come to New here and create a new folder, and then you open it and you save this report into it. Now it's good. One of the good reasons why you need to save, can see the header has changed now to sales report. One of the good reasons why you need to save is because sometimes systems can trip off. Some things can happen. There can be many book one in your system, so you need to give it a title so that you can make reference to it when you need it, right? So and then you don't lose it, because you can lose your document if they are not saved, because it sees it as a read only. That's how the system sees that. And now I think one of those things I would like you to see again is I'll show you at the end also how to print. But before we do that, let's do some level of visualization. In advanced class, in the next class to this, we'll be showing you different ways for pivot, but as privilege we are going to see it here as well, at least at the basics, where we'll be able to use it in our own little space. Now if you want to do pivot, one of those things you need to do first is to highlight the entire cell and see. I stopped it at this. I didn't include these ones here because they are not part of what I want to report. Now, having highlighted that, you go to insert tab just after the home tab. You click that, and then if you go right hand side, you will see this chart called pivot chart. Now the pivot chart, if you open it there are several options. You can do a pivot chart. You can also do a pivot table, because there is a pivot table here if you want to do pivot table. But because this they have also put both pivot table and pivot chart in one. Many people don't know this is possible, but you are privileged to see that. If you see a pivot chart and pivot table, if you click on it, now it's asking you for the range. You see, because I've selected the range, it has highlighted that column. You can see it has referenced the column. That's why you are seeing those dancing tabs there. Now it will also ask you choose where you want to. If you go ahead and click OK, it will open a new sheet and continue your work. But I like to show our analysis just beside this table, so I can say existing worksheet, and it will say which location. So I want to click just by the side there. That's why I want you to report. The next thing to do is to click OK. Now it has done two things here. I'm going to separate this for you so that you can see how it works. This frame here is where it's going to build the chart, right? You can see to build a pivot chart, choose field from the pivot chart field. Is what we're going to do. This one here is where it's going to build the refined table based on our selection. Now let's assume we want to show the region and the total cost for each region. So if you come to the pivot chart field here, you could drag. So there are all these items here. If you put them onto different on these four fields, they report differently. This one is, if you want to use any one of them to filter the report, you can put it here. If you want this legend series, is if you want it to be a title, I mean a kind of reference point, a legend, that's where you put it here. For the axis, you want any of these items to be an axis there, then this is for the value. Now let's just go straight on and do. Let's assume we want to do region. So you drag the region to axis here. You can see it has put a small table here and has put all the region here, and then it has also put region legend at this graph. Now, but it hasn't seen what you want to check for the region. So let's give it a total cost. You can drag the total cost to value because there are values that are in there. Now immediately it has plotted a chart for you, and has also populated the table here. Very easy, very fast, very magical. Now you could choose to manipulate whatever you want here, but for this cross sign, there are many things you can do with it. You can put Isaac's title there if you want to name the title. Have you seen it here? So maybe here we want to write amount there. You could write it there. You can label the data there. You can see is there. You can show the data table. You can show a grid line. Then you can show a trend line. I think I like to leave the trend line there. So that trend line is showing you the perspective that is working in there. Now, I can also decide to see which manager work in those regions. so that I can report together. Now, if I come here, I can move my manager straight down to it. You can see for each of those central, it has put managers there. Let's remove those things that are making it not clear. Let's remove the trend line so that we can be So you can see it has put the manager just by each of the region, so that we could see what they are making, the cost rather that they are incurring. This could also work for sales. It can work for anything. Now, if we look at that, I can look at the report. I can also make this report show just side by side. I don't want it to come under each of the region. To do that, you come to the region that you have put under the axis here, open it up, come to field setting. You can tell him that you don't want subtotal, because all you are seeing here, they are like subtotals. They are subtotaling it here. That's why he's putting it there. You say you don't want subtotal. Come to the layout here and say show item labels in tabular form, because you want it to be in tabular form. Now you can now click. You can also insert page break at the edge, and you can click OK. You can see they are just by the side. It makes the report simpler, and it's finer. Right, so this is exactly what it is. If you like, you can close each of these central if you don't want to see the manager, or you simply remove the manager here. Now, very quickly as we run up, if you bring this, let's close this pivot side. Don't think we need it for now. If you bring it down here, we can change the style of this. We can reduce by going to the corner here and shrinking it a bit, just so that it fits into this place. Now we can also remove the manager if it is not part of. If you click here, the table. If you click here again, that you can adjust the title here. This row label, you can choose to double click on it and call it region. You can print your report as appropriate, right? So there are filters here. You can filter in there. That's how you have those buttons and all of that. So this is your report. So I was saying that so this report, we need to enlarge it to see more of excuse me. Good. So that the tables can show. You don't want to reduce it that much that you won't see the bar any longer. Rather shrink it to the left so that it can come together. So you can see what they have by manager and all of that. Now this is good reporting. If you click on the chart itself, if you come to design, you can choose to change the style of the format. You can bring it to something like this. I'll show you picture, right? And then you can come, and because you can change the color of those data. At the same time, you can remove the data label so that it can be clearer. Now you can also you can remove the grid line here. You could also click on the grid line and then click delete. It goes off it. Oh, this one is now a picture, so you remove it here. The one that was there initially, you could do that, but this is a picture. You have to remove it from the chart elements here. Good. Now I think this is good. Now if you check here this total, you could double click it and give it the title of your chart. You could say sales order 2050. I think this is good enough for us. If you scroll down, you see this is very good. Now we could print all this report in just one picture and submit for our report. It speaks a lot for itself. You could see what each manager is doing in each region, or like how it is here where you have their names repeatedly. You have all of that. So these are one of the usefulness of Excel. In other further classes, we'll teach you how to do a single page dashboard that you can use to report so many things, and you can have slicers, and you can even manipulate, and you can use filters to show different kind of report on just one page. Having done all of this, you have been able to put an header there, you have been able to put a title, you have been able to adjust the cells properly, you have been able to add currency to data. With this knowledge, you can approach any Excel form, and then you have some basic function you have been able to learn here, some further function, and then we also did not add. I like to add this. It's very important for referencing. You want to add your serial number. So whenever you remember that you haven't done it in, you simply do them. I like to use this quantity function to paint, because if you use date function to paint this side, whatever you write here will be showing as date. To remember, sorry, I think you can see, just because I wrote 21 is repeating it there, but it was 2 that I was supposed to write there. And you highlight it, and then you can double click for it to go down to the last number there. That should be 43. Now this is good for us. Then you can now print by highlighting to the place where you have your reports, and then you highlight it to where you have this. Then you can do Ctrl P so that you can review what you want. So you can now adjust this side of your printing side is where you adjust what you want to print. I haven't done all of that. You see that it's only showing in part here because it's viewing it in 8 pages. 8 pages. That's why you have it all scattered there. But there are other things you can do. Because it's wide, you can come to this portrait orientation and you change it to landscape orientation. That alone would adjust. So what you now
whatever
do
you want
after
to
then,
do,
you can see it's
now
beginning to
view
take
how
the
your report will
here.
be before you print it. You could
check to the last page. You can see it there. This is the final format it will present. In the subsequent classes, we'll show you more about printing and how to put it all in one page for presentation, and how, if it can't fit in one page, how to repeat header on each of the printing that in the print page. That will go beyond the course of this course. And having done all of that, I think we have been able to fulfill our level 1 for this beginner class. I hope you learned so much on it. If you highlight all the columns together, you can click any one of them so that it can spread out the entire column. So everything will be used as a way to present, to give a better view of what you have. I think this will come to the end of our teaching. Once again, let me remind you, if you have stayed this long, remember we have a free gift for you. Please subscribe and click like to view more of our videos, and also encourage us to produce more quality video as this. And also do not forget to also download your free gift. It's a free ebook on 53 Excel shortcuts that would help you as you practice. There are many shortcuts that have been used in the course of this. Now when you practice more, it helps you gain efficiency when you work. Now please stay tuned. Click on some other of our videos to watch the advanced levels of this, and as we continue on this journey of Excel, and I hope you get better. And one opportunity I'm also giving for those who are listening to, who have watched this maiden edition of Excel for beginners, you can pop in some questions when you are practicing. Just pop in, type maiden, just write MAIDEN, hashtag MAIDEN, then pop your question in. I'll give you a priority in giving you timely response as you ask those questions. Yeah, that comes to the end of this session. See you as we get there and get better. Wish you best of luck at work. See you later. Bye for now.